Rampage Jackson keeps digging a deeper grave on the whole Raja situation. Everything about his newest comments, why they are completely outrageous, and why Raja isn't arrested yet in this video. Hello and welcome to Bloodsport MMA.
Salam alaikum, my brother.
Even though you guys really liked the first video I did on Raja, I plan on not doing another one because I was like, I said everything, I broke down the situation, whatever happens now is gonna happen, and I thought he's gonna get arrested anyways. And then when he did not get arrested, I was like, should I talk about it again? And now that Rampage came out with those crazy statements, I was like, I definitely have to talk about it again because this is just crazy, right? So let's just dive into it. I think you guys know the situation by now, right? You know that he hit him with about 22 unanswered shots to a lifeless or unconscious body after he body slammed him, right? I think you do know that by now. So it has been a long time now since that happened, and Raja still has not been arrested. Now first, let's address this before we get to the Rampage thing. Why is that the case? Now, I did study law for a couple of semesters here in my country, but not in America, so I'm not very familiar with American law. But I would imagine that in California, in the Californian law, American law, whatever, you do not get arrested if no one presses charges, right? Now, in a case, in a normal street fight or something where no one films it and whatever, you really need to have the person being attacked or a close witness or whatever pressing charges actively, right? Otherwise, nothing happens to you. Now, in this case, though, where everything is on video, like literally, this is the easiest law case ever because the whole situation, the whole why it happened, all of that is all on video. Like, it is as easy as it gets. And as far as I know, as I said, I might be wrong, and it seems like I'm wrong, the state itself can also press the charges. At least where I'm from, that's the case. The state can press the charges as well, especially if there's so much evidence. Syko Stu himself would not have to press the charges. The state could sue Raja for that. You know what I mean? Could take Raja in front of the court for that and to jail/prison for that, right? Because it is a horrible wrongdoing that is on camera and everything. And even if the other guy does not want to press charges, they could still proceed with the charges. But as it seems, that's not the case, because if that would be the case, then it would be a whole disaster that California has not done that yet. I know California is kind of weird with their whole laws about, like, they are very, very, how do you call that, liberal and all of that. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but they did not press any charges, so I would assume that they are not even able to. So Syko Stu himself would need to press those charges, and he's maybe still contemplating if he should do that. Now, that's of course all on Syko Stu. If he wants to do it or not, we cannot tell him he has to, but of course, that would be the only right idea, in my opinion, even though I think lawsuit is always the last option, but in this case, there is no other option, right? That's about the whole lawsuit. Then let's talk about Rampage. Rampage went on Ariel Helwanis Show. Ariel Helwani, whether you love him or hate him, one of the best MMA journalists in the world. Friends with Rampage since a long time, actually not like close friends, but they're very friendly. They've done a lot of things together. Now, the problem with the whole Rampage situation is that I said in the beginning, Rampage has, you can never say nothing to do with it because it's his father and all of that, but you cannot blame Rampage for that. A lot of people make claims online like, yeah, but he's his father, he's raised him, blah, blah, and that. Yeah, of course he's his father and he raised him, but you can't just blame every father for everything their sons do. You know what I mean? It's of course he had some influence into all of this in some way with also mocking him on stream all the time, but at the end of the day, you cannot blame Rampage for Raja's stupidity. You just can't. And it's stupid. And everybody that writes racist things overall, it's completely stupid. It has nothing to do with race. Nothing. Stupid guys can be of all colors and shapes and forms. You know what I mean? And people that text him threats and all of that are completely stupid. and should all be facing their punishment as well. If you threaten someone's family because of something their son did that he had nothing really to do with, you're stupid as well.
You suck. Boom, roasted.
And if you make this a whole racist thing and text him racist things because of it, you're stupid as well. If you want to say something to him, say it to his face. Otherwise, shut your mouth. You know what I mean? Because all of y'all that text him bad things would not say it to his face. You can be very critical of him, but you should not insult him with racial slurs or whatever, or threaten his family. Are you freaking insane? But nevertheless, that should still not make Rampage do what he's doing right now, which is saying way too much and a lot of stupid shit. Because the best thing Rampage could have done is just make one statement like he did initially. He did a good statement on X. I read it in the last video. Make one statement, leave it there. The best thing you can do in situations like that is just leave it there. What did Connor do when his wiener got leaked? He just left it there. He reacted to one or two funny memes in a funny way, left it there. Have you ever seen anyone talk about it again? No. If he would have came out into a statement and all of that, people would still be talking about it and mocking him for it. No one, I completely forgot about it. No one cares anymore. And of course, this is a whole different, more serious matter, but still, he should have just left it there. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. The lawyers are working on it anyways. You're not doing anyone a favor by coming out and making statements. And the people that are that stupid already that write you those DMs will only write you more DMs once you say it bothers you and come up with those statements. That's how haters work. Once you react to them, that's what they want. So he should have just made one statement and then not said anything about it anymore, because then I would have still said, hey, Rampage, everything's good with you. I have no problem with Rampage. The problem is with Racha. But now that he came up with those stupid statements that I'm going to read to you in a second, I'm like, I still love Rampage. I'm a big fan of Rampage. I love this guy. I think he's very funny. I love his podcast and all of that. But I cannot back him with that. This is completely stupid what he says. He's showing... I cannot say he's showing stupidity, because I think once it involves your son, you are maybe not your normal self anymore. But he's being very stupid in this situation. That's just a fact. So he went on Ariel Helwanis Show. Ariel Helwani had a whole rage on this whole situation the day before. He went on his show and made a couple of statements. I wrote some down, so I'm just gonna read some bullet points, right? Rampage said, let Racha go to jail, couple of days to learn. Like, bro, I understand you don't want your son to go to jail forever, what this and that. But to say he should go to jail for a couple of days and learn from that. Who goes to jail for 5 days for nearly killing someone and learns from that? Like, oh no, what a horrible punishment. I need to change. You know what I mean? He need a real punishment. Of course, there's psychologists that say long sentences, whatever, only make it worse, all of that. I'm not a psychologist, but to say you should go to jail for a couple of days for nearly killing someone is just outrageous. Like, no, bro. He needs to go to jail for a little bit longer than a couple of days. And the anger management program and everything he's suggesting, I completely agree with that. He should do anger management, not just jail. Just jail will not help you. You need to have some anger management things, whatever, maybe even a psychologist and all of that. Yeah, of course. Then he said, this was not attempted murder. He said, Racha did not want, I know my son, he did not want to kill him. Again, maybe I am having my country's rules and laws in my head, and maybe that does not apply to America, but I'm pretty sure it does. Attempted murder does not need you to say or state, I will kill him, or to 1,000,000% have in your brain, I now am going to kill him, because you cannot prove that anyways, what you have in your head. The only thing it needs is you pursue an action against somebody that you are in the know could lead to someone or this person dying. And especially what even makes it harder for Racha to deny that is he's a martial artist. He knows the impact of strikes. He knows his weapons. That makes it even harder for him to deny that, because once you know your weapons, you know how damaging ground and pound can be and all of that, especially after slam to the head. You slamming someone to the back of his head, landing 22 punches, only stopping because someone pulls you off. Even when that person pulls you off, you still want to go back and keep hitting him. You are 1,000,000% taken into consideration, active consideration of this guy dying. Because if no one would have pulled you off, you would have not stopped and he would have died. So you took into consideration he might die, even though it may be, benefit of the doubt, it maybe was not your main intention, but you took it into consideration. Like with your action, that was a very possible outcome of what you did. So it is 100% attempted murder, at least from the law that I know. This is clearly attempted murder, not assault. Assault is if I punch you in the head once and I don't know, you go unconscious, even if you don't go unconscious, that's assault. And there's aggravated assault if I maybe, I don't know, knock you down, you're still on the floor and I kick you in the face whilst you try to come up. That's aggravated assault because it's more than just one little hit or something like that, right? Next point. Syko Stu should have made a statement. Rampage said Syko Stu, he was kind of pissed, if I interpreted right, that Syko Stu did not make a statement yet. He's been released from the hospital. Why did he not do a statement? Like, bro, you realize that freaking guy, let's look at his statement, by the way, that he did, or his people did. Stewart has been released from hospital and is now home resting. He sustained a serious head injury and was unconscious upon arrival at the ER. His injuries include trauma to both the upper and lower jaws, a laceration to his upper lip, and fracture to the maxilla bone, which unfortunately resulted in the loss of several teeth. Bro, his face is completely messed up. His jaw is completely messed up. Half of his teeth are missing. Everything is like swollen on the side and all of that. You think his concern now is go in front of a camera while he can probably barely speak. I don't even know if his jaw is like wired or something. He can probably barely speak. You think he's like, oh yeah, let me go in front of a camera and be like, talk like that to make a statement about something that doesn't even need a statement because everything is on camera. Everything is on camera. There's no statement needed. What should he even add to that whole situation? Yeah, I was a little bit drunk. Okay, what does that matter? You know what I mean? He does not owe anyone a statement. Not anyone. And especially not at this stage. What he does here is more than he would have to. He discloses injuries and all of that, and I'm thankful he does. He definitely does not need to make a freaking statement, Rampage. That's outrageous. Then, I am not talking to my son. Yeah, he said, I'm not talking to my son, which is crazy. He said he talked to Roger right after that. Since then, he hasn't talked to him because he's mad at him. Like, bro, how old are you? 12? You do not talk to your own son in the worst situation of his life. And of course, it's his own fault. But you do not talk to him in the worst situation of his life because you're mad at him? Of course, you should be mad at him. But even if you're mad at him, in this situation in your son's life, it's your main responsibility as that to be there for him, to make sure he's fine. There's people that killed themselves over way less than what Raja is going through right now. And I'm not saying Raja is a victim, I just say, Raja is not in a nice situation right now. And you as the dad not even talking to him, not trying to be there for him, what kind of dad are you, bro? Like, honestly. And then he said, like 5 minutes later in the interview, to another question, about his other kids, right? Because his other kids are getting threats as well, which, as I said, is completely stupid that people do that. I will be there for my kids until my last breath. How can you say both those things in one interview? How can you say you're going to be there for your kids until their last breath, but then at the same time say, yeah, I haven't talked to Raja since, but I'm handling the lawyers? Wow. Dad of the year. Honestly, that's completely insane. I have zero good feelings for Raja, but I kind of feel for him that situation that his own dad doesn't even talk to him. Like, bro, what the hell? Then he said that Raja should sell it, but went too far. That they told him he should sell the whole story and all of that, but he went too far. I think this is a crazy statement because if they told him to sell it in wrestling terms, that mean make it seem somewhat realistic. Slamming someone to the back of his head already has nothing to do with that. In pro wrestling, you do not do that. You do not just slam someone to the back of his head that he's unconscious. That's not what you're supposed to do. And especially once someone is unconscious and you're easily aware of that because you can see it and you heard the impact and all of that, and as a martial artist, you know what makes somebody go unconscious, you do not throw real punches to his freaking jaw 22 times. None of all of that has something to do with selling it. Even if they told him to sell it, that is everything in that has nothing to do with that. If he would have sold it, he would have lifted him up, threw him on the ground in a normal way, and I don't know, choked him, whatever, or maybe fake punched him, where he obviously can't do that because he's not a pro wrestler, but if he would be a pro wrestler, like punch him, but in a way that it doesn't really impact the person that gets punched, right? They have a special little technique. Like, selling has nothing to do with hurting him for real. So nothing about it had anything to do with selling it. And then he said he's upset about Stu not taking his call or calling back. Rampage actually called Stu after the incident and asked him to call him back. And he's kind of upset with Stu not answering his call or calling him back. Like, bro, he was literally kind of busy with, staying alive and facing his injuries and healing his injuries. I don't think anywhere on Syko Stu's mind is any space for, oh yeah, true, Rampage called me and left me a voice note that I should call him back. It's true, I need to do that right now. Like, bro, he can barely talk, probably, as I said, and I don't think he has any... What should he talk to you about? That you say, hey, sorry, or whatever? Like, what should he talk to you about? Why? And how do you even know he even heard your voice message? You think you're the only one trying to reach Syko Stu right now? Everyone is trying to reach him. He probably can't even listen to all the voice notes, especially since he doesn't have your number. If you call someone, even though you're famous, you're Rampage Jackson. If you call someone, your number does not appear as Rampage Jackson's phone number on someone's phone. It's just a random phone number popping up on his phone, leaving a voice note, probably next to other 200 other voice notes of other numbers that he probably knows 50% of those numbers. You think he listens to every single one of those voice notes and hopes somewhere is Rampage that he can call you back? Like, bro, come on. And as I said, I understand that Rampage may say a couple of stupid things because he's the dad, and once you're the dad in a situation like that, you cannot react rationally, but at the same time, like, he should have never came out and made any statements, ever. He should have just left it where it was. He should have never made a statement. And here, a little summary of that, he made a statement. That's the first big one he did after his silence. He should have stayed silent. This has gone too far. I'm sick of being quiet and letting all the low IQ people fall for clickbait. He asked my son to things too far, and I'm pissed at him for being a POS and the way he handled it. But if Syko Stu wasn't drunk and wouldn't have hit my son over the head with a real beer can while he was live streaming on his own stream, then Knox wouldn't have felt like they had to make things right by letting Roger get his get back in the ring. Like, bro, you're literally trying to blame, in a way, with this statement that Syko Stu was drunk and hit your son with a beer can. In the interview with Ariel, you literally said that your son told you that the hit with the beer can did not hurt at all. Ever heard about pro wrestlers? Because Rampage always claims to know so much about pro wrestling. Pro wrestlers literally have their own techniques to hit you with stuff and not making you feel anything. I heard that, I don't know, when you do that beer can stunt, you kind of hit him, but at the same time you crush the beer with your hand, so it doesn't really hit him, but it still looks like it hits him. Like, bro, that was all a work. He did not assault your son with a beer can trying to knock him out or something like that. Like, blaming him for that and because he was drunk and all of that. Like, what is wrong, bro? What the hell? If my son would have just went to the police when the beer can incident happened, the whole event would have gotten shut up and could have sued. I mean, that would not have been the right way, in my opinion. It's kind of a PUSSY way, but he could have, yeah. But no, my son is not as smart and I'd like him to be. Now my family and I are getting racist threats because of all the misinformation being posted, so content creators can get paid from viewers. Oops. People actually think my son just snuck into a ring in front of a live audience and picked Syko Stu up without permission to be there. Get smart people. It was staged. Yeah, of course he had permission to be in there. He said it himself. No one ever said that he had no permission. I have listened to a lot of statements. No one said he had no permission to be there. What we said was He should have never done any of the actions he did. That's all everyone's saying, right? Guess what people say? But Racha took it too far. He only shook his hand and accepted Syko Stu strong an apology because they said he could have gotten the storyline. He was told he could fuck him up. I have witnesses that say this isn't the first time that Syko Stu has done some drunk shit backstage to a fan. Now we have the backstory that my son attacked an innocent military vet with PTSD, like my son, blah, 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 blah. To a fan. Like, bro, this show had like 30, 40 people watching. I don't think they have real fans that go backstage and they get assaulted. Like, come on, bro. But yeah, I'm not trying to say that Syko Stu is like the best guy ever. Everyone makes mistakes. But if someone apologizes to you 3-4 times and you shake his hand, that's over with. And even if you get your get back to get into the ring and do a work, okay, but then do the work. Don't do it for real. Duh. You know what I mean? And I would have had no problem if in the moment that he hit him with a beer can, if he would have turned around, boom, and hit him. I would have had no problem with that. Zero. That would have been completely okay with me. The problem is that you had like 2 hours to think about it and accepted 3 apologies to then do something like that. To be outraged like that. And if people call him a caged animal and Rampage has a problem with that, are the people that probably say that with racist thoughts behind it? Yeah, of course they are. But the statement in and of itself is not wrong or racist. A caged animal has nothing to do with your skin color. If they would say a caged monkey, yeah, then I would have a problem with that as well, because that would be clearly racist. But a caged animal is a term for someone that can't control his emotions and is inhuman with the way he acts, which Racha was in that situation. That has nothing to do with being racist, bro. Okay? Stop making everything about race, people. And especially the people that blame Racha or blame his skin color for what he did, which is completely insane and stupid, right? But I think I went on a long enough rant about it. Rampage is only making everything worse. If I missed anything, write in the comments your opinion about all of this. Write in the comments you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, would appreciate that. Check out all the links in the bio, my merch, bloodsport.net, freshest MMA merch, Muay Thai merch in the industry. Check it out, you guys. Stay bloody. Until the next one. Bye-bye. Bloodsport out.